Okay, this video is over the superposition principle, which is just a fancy way of saying adding vectors. So how do we need to add vectors? First, break the vectors into components. Second, add the x components. Third, add the y components. And fourth, use the Pythagorean theorem to make one magnitude and use the inverse tangent to make one direction. All right, so let's look at an example. Let's say I have one vector that is 10 units long and it's directed at some angle theta 1. And I also have another vector that is 7 units long and has a standard angle of theta 2. And let's say that theta 1 is equal to 55 degrees and theta 2 is equal to 330 degrees. So how do we need to break these into components? Well, you may remember from class that x needs to use r times cosine theta and y needs to use r times sine of theta. So let's go ahead and check that out first. So as you can see, we have used the hypotenuse or the magnitude value for the r value for each set of equations, and I've actually done x and y twice. I did it once for the blue vector and once for the red vector. Now what about combining these two to add these two vectors together? Do I just need to add all of the x's plus all of the y's? Well, that's actually partially right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the x's first. Only x plus x. So 5.7 plus 6.1. And that gives me 11.8. Then I'm going to do the y's, which is 8.2 plus a negative 3.5. So as someone said in class, that's actually a minus. And that gives you 4.7. And finally, to put this into component notation, I have r equals 11.8x plus 4.7y. And don't forget, you have to put your vector symbol and your little wizard hats on top of the x and y to show that they are directions. I know we didn't get to using the inverse tangent. We did that today in class. We'll look at doing it again together, and we'll just skip it for this video. All right, that's it. That is the basics of adding two vectors together. See you tomorrow.